For reality sync individuals, we know of 3 that are a preteen in Omaha, Dr. Clef, and... Good afternoon, Foundation staff. Dr. Theron Sherman here, and today we are doing our first ever SCP Shower Thoughts Audience Edition. We have checked out your comments and questions, and we are going to answer them today. Now, patrons and channel members of Site42 get first priority, so let's hop into their section first. This format is a massive improvement, much appreciated. Oh, well, you're welcome. Also, since awareness of the appearance of SCP-1128, the aquatic predator, is required for it to be able to draw you in and attack you, would dosing it with amnestics render it unaware of its own appearance and neutralize its ability to attack people? So, here's the thing with SCP-1128. It teleports you from whatever small body of water you got sucked into, like a bathtub or a cup of water, and it teleports you into a part of the ocean. So it's not as if we could dump enough amnestics into the ocean to cause it to forget itself. That's just not viable. And even if we had a strong enough amnestic and we could shoot like a tranq dart into whatever it is, I have a feeling that, like 096, it's more of an intrinsic feeling than it is knowing its own appearance. So even if it didn't have memory, it would still have the instinct to chase you down. So I don't think that's gonna work out. Conceivably, if someone important was sick with something, the Foundation could use SCP-294 to pull the sick out of them every 15 days, right? And as a bonus, that's a cure with an inherent blackmail. So there's that maybe? I like the way you're thinking. We could get a lot of good information from different organizations if we could just get their medical records and figure out which ones are chronically ill and use this to keep them alive, but in our service. Devious. I'm gonna have to put you in touch with the ethics committee. Maybe they'll promote you for such a thing. It's ethical. It's ethical and working for the Foundation. Trust me on this. It's gonna be great. Next question. Happy New Year, Dr. Sherman. Oh, Happy New Year to you too. If we threw SCP-939 into SCP-3008, which would be the bigger threat? I'm not entirely sure of the question here, but I've got an idea. Maybe you're thinking 939 with many voices would be more dangerous than the SCP-3008-2s, and I think that would be right. Now, the problem is that while 939 entities are stronger and more capable hunters than the 3008-2s, I do think the overwhelming number of 3008-2s would probably overwhelm them to a point. So I don't feel that the 939s are going to survive that experiment, but it's an interesting hypothetical. Next question. What if we took SCP-3802, hey, that's one of mine, SCP-2295, and the contents of a store that sells crafting supplies, and took them all round children's wards in hospitals? Well, I am certain that we would have some very happy, ill children, but we would also break secrecy for the entire Foundation, so no hair club by Dado, no patchwork bear, we're not taking them around. This isn't Make-A-Wish, this is the SCP Foundation. Secrecy, it's important. Now we're moving into corrections. Last video I made a couple of goofs, you caught them, let's line them out. Ah yes, several commenters noted that there has already been an SCP-096 versus SCP-682 test on the wiki. And I'll have you point out that I was absolutely correct. 096 could not defeat 682 and had in fact had a mental breakdown over it. So the only correction here is in how correct I actually was without even knowing it. You're welcome. Next correction. We're very good at hiding knowledge of anomalies, he says to his YouTube channel that anyone in the world can find and learn from. Okay, listen here. This is not a correction. You know that we are all Foundation staff here and that non-Foundation staff cannot see these broadcasts. Don't mess with me like that. You scared me. I thought Steve broke the VPN again. Damn it, Steve. All right, now we're done with corrections. Let's move on to the YouTube comments. Throw SCP-682 into the sun. I'll have you know, we've already tried this. SCP-1543, the Sun Launcher, does what its name says it does. It launches things into the sun. We have launched many things into the sun, including a 30-foot monster. A normal human, while invulnerable, was not any stronger than a normal man and could feel pain. And he's probably having a heck of a time up there. We threw an atom bomb from the future in there. We threw a tiny black hole. We threw so many things into the sun. And we also tried SCP-682. We want to get rid of it. But you know what happened? It broke out of containment before getting into the sun. And then floating there in space, it grew solar sails and flew back. it hates us that much, it wants to mess with us that much, that it grew solar sails to fly back and mess with us. So, we tried! Next question. If SCP-3930 and SCP-682 interacted, wouldn't that neutralize SCP-682? What about the Black Moon? So SCP-3930 is an interesting case because obviously SCP-3930 does not exist, and things that go into SCP-3930 no longer exist as well. But SCP-682 seems to have this weird avatar of an entity that is outside of reality, forced into this one spot of our reality as an evil lizard thing that makes reality nullification not work on it consistently. Plus, we'd have to somehow drag it out to the Russian frontier with a team that is not allowed to be more than 5 people, because that's all the people that are allowed to know and deal with 3930. We're all getting amnesticized after this video, so we don't remember 3930, because that's how it has to happen. So yeah, I don't think we can get 682 to 3930, let alone use it. Meanwhile, the Black Moon, now I can't find this in the database, but I hear rumor that it exists, that the Black Moon tried to destroy SCP-682, but there was a bit of 682 left, and it regrew, and it made fun of the Black Moon. Now, I don't know if that actually happened, but if it did happen, it makes sense. That's the kind of thing 682 does. Jerk. Next question. SCP Shower Thought. Given what SCP-6969 does, how many freaky researchers have been fired or died trying to use it? I don't think you quite get the gravity of what SCP-6969 is. You see, this is a biological process in all of humanity. It's so far hypothesized that this is why we have evolved as we have as humans. The only time people perish relating to SCP-6969 is if we at the Foundation do something to the body or nervous system that disrupts the process of regeneration of the nervous system post-nut. And so, I don't think that anyone has died doing it to its intended purpose. It's only when we muck around with it, and we only do that to D-Class, not researchers. Next question. Logistics SCP Shower Thought. With as many groups of interest as there are, what % of the population doesn't exist on paper? I assume we don't have hard numbers, but it has to have gotten to be a significant percentage of humanity, right? You know, I'm not sure. Now, the problem with this question is there are, obviously, billions of people. Billions of people on this planet. The population's getting higher every year, and it's not as if the Foundation itself doesn't employ that many people. We're a secret organization, and we can't be big and well-known because of that. Other groups of interest are also small pockets of humanity/anomalous individuals. So I don't think that many people are on our side of the veil. The veil being, you know, here's everyone who knows about the anomalous, and then here's the vast majority of everyone who doesn't know about the anomalous. I don't think if our side of the veil got too big, it would spill out, it would be a broken veil scenario. So I don't think it's that significant an amount, but I know we don't have numbers of, we don't even know all the groups of interest out there, let alone how many members are in each. There's not a real anomalous census for that. Next question. Shower Thought. What is SCP-500's definition of a disease? Can it remove info hazards like 096's face or SCP-3086 from the mind of subjects? SCP-500 is the perfect cure-all for physical maladies. And so, you lose an arm, you'll grow back an arm. You have cancer, you won't have cancer anymore. You become a zombie, you'll become not a zombie. But this is, even if we stretch that to go to like mental illnesses of certain sorts, there's a point where a cognitohazard is a piece of information inside your working brain rather than a detrimental disease to the brain. So no, I don't think this is going to save you from 096 or 3086. So, bad times. Next question. What if we were to stick SCP-5726 into the middle of a Nakaijima event manifested by SCP-3596? Would she help the SCP-3596 instances, or would she make things worse? So a murderous magical girl meets a Power Rangers villain IRL. I don't think that's going to be a clean mess for everybody. I think Ichigo Nakamura is going to murderize our jokey Power Rangers villains. It's going to be gross for everyone. It's a bad idea. Magical girls and Power Rangers, in this case, don't mix. Next question. SCP-4521 might just emit a cognitohazard that makes people think it should scream. What kind of crazy talk is that? SCP-4521's anomaly is clearly that it's not screaming. This cognitohazard business, you don't know what you're talking about, but don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. It's going to scream. That's all you need to know. It's going to scream. Next question. SCP Shower Thought. It has been stated that SCP-999 has been used to create antidepressants in the past, due to it causing people to feel extremely happy. Does the Foundation ever use some of 999's abilities to incapacitate targets, anomalous or otherwise? To correct you a little bit, we were talking about making SCP-99 into antidepressants. We haven't actually approved that yet. It has to go through the whole snake-like system of the Foundation bureaucracy, and you know how slow that is. If something's going to help people, we don't actually do that hard of work on it. We just contain it. That's the fast thing we do. But actually using it to improve lives, once in a while something gets through, but I don't know. There's only one SCP-999, and I doubt we're going to use it because it would be, we can't do it to the public. We couldn't cover that up if it was an anomalous antidepressant. And meanwhile, using it for the Foundation, yeah, it would work. I mean, I bet it would be fantastic, but we just don't do that many helpful things. We study and we contain, but we're not here to make the world a better place. Except for by keeping it normal. That's how we make the world a better place. Meanwhile, used as like a tranquilizer dart to like stop an opponent, I guess if you put enough in there that it like tickle thought them to the ground, then it might work, but I doubt that it would be that much of a stopper to use it in a combat setting. Next question. One shower thought I had for a while. If SCP-607 bonded itself with another SCP that reanimates after death, would the bond be permanent? An interesting conundrum. The cat of Dorian Gray, the Dorian the Gray cat. Interesting question. Dorian the Gray cat bonding to a person is, like cats like people. It's a basic bond. It's an emotional bond. It's a friendship bond. I don't think it's that serious that after the cat perished and then came back, even if the person did come back, I think they would have to re-bond again. Then again, maybe if our immortal friend who keeps coming back from the dead dies every time, then maybe now the cat has multiple people who die every time it dies. But because Agent Redacted is still alive, we're not going to be testing this anytime soon. I mean, the cat's still got 9 lives and a couple more years on each left, so we'll see how that goes. Next question. 1. If SCP have been around for who knows how long, does that mean stuff in places SCP were around the original thing? Like Builder-Bear was around before teddy bears, or the infinite staircase was around before stairs? 2. If we just watch the IKEA door from the inside, will it still disappear? So to answer the easy question first, the IKEA door, we're not exactly sure the mechanics of how it disappears and reappears. We only know that it disappears when it's not in sight. So that means unless, like SCP-173, you got a bunch of people there taking turns and making sure that they don't blink, then it's probably going to end up going away as soon as it's out of sight. And so it's not highly useful to one person. Maybe if you have a group, and even then if you have a group going in to watch the door, why don't you just leave through the door? And so, it's something to experiment if we wanted to try the Swedish meatball caravan idea from the last one. If we had a couple people watching the door and then had people go get the meatballs and come back, maybe that could work. It's something, I'd actually try that. I've been hankering for some meatballs lately. Now, on to your other question. That's hard to say because we don't know where a lot of these SCPs originate. And like the Builder-Bear, yes, it looks like a teddy bear and it makes its own other teddy bears out of things that teddy bears should not be made out of. But we don't know how old it is. We don't know if someone created it after teddy bears exist. The same with stairs, although stairs have a much further lineage back in time. So I doubt that we could really find out the deal of that, especially when the SCPs are so mysterious as to when they came to being in the first place most of the time. Next question. Who would win between SCP-953, the sadistic nine-tailed fox lady, or Mobile Task Force Epsilon-11, nine-tailed fox? So if you read the documentation for 953, in transporting the anomaly, it requires no less than 6 staff members to make sure that it doesn't kill them and get away. And so the Kumiho is going to be facing Mobile Task Force Epsilon-11, nine-tailed fox. When they enter the building, they have a lot more than 6 people. I have a feeling that the Kumiho is not getting far. Next question. Is there an SCP that is just a guy and anomalies just don't exist for him? There are two kinds of people who nullify anomalies that I'm aware of. The first is the 36, part of the Jorich-Dematics SCP-001 proposal, and that's 36 people who seemingly alter or nullify anomalous effects of objects or entities within their range. The second set is what we call a reality sink, and this is another way that anomalies can be neutralized, at least temporarily. And for reality sink individuals, we know of 3 that are a preteen in Omaha, Dr. Clef, and Donald Trump, unfortunately. For more information on that one, check out SCP-5004 in the database. Oh, bad times had by all. Next question. Could you give weed to really angry SCPs and have them chill out? Now I want to see SCP-682 high as a kite. Listen. What we do with SCP-420-J is between us and the SCP-420-J documentation. All the tests are there. You can see who we used it with. It's a good time, but just refer to the documentation. Next question. And now, due to the popularity of questions regarding this specific anomaly, we're closing out with what we're calling the SCP-096 section. Let's go. What is something in your childhood causes you to see 096's face before you ever see him, like genetic memory or schizophrenia? Doesn't matter, because you only get attacked by 096 if you see an actual representation of its face. A photograph, a video, 4 fucking pixels. It's that small, but it's still a real photograph. Artistic representations, drawings, graphical creations, memories, or imagined memories, I guess you're talking about, are not the same thing. And furthermore, that's why you're all alive after the last video. I saw you in the comments, oh, he killed us all with this video. That was an artistic representation. You're fine. Notice that you're still alive. If you're not still alive, go see your site medic. It was something else. Next question. What if a being attached to a hive mind views SCP-096's face? Would he attack just the one being, or would it cause a chain reaction until the entire hive mind is wiped out? That certainly depends on the hive mind, but my assumption for at least the majority of hive minds is that what is in one's mind is in the other one's mind, which means that if one of the hive mind sees it, they're all going down. That's my hypothesis. It would be fun to test, depending on the hive mind and if we don't like it or not, but probably not going to get approved. Next question. What happens if you look at 096's face and then go to another dimension? Would he calm down until you came back to the dimension he's in? Would he just be screaming forever? Or would he tear a hole through dimensions trying to get to you? And hypothetically, couldn't you potentially find the exit in SCP-3008 by putting 096 into it and having someone outside look at a photo? With careful use of a face covering so people inside don't see him, you could potentially get a lot of people out if they follow him. I agree with the hypothesis here. 096 does not calm down if you see its face. That is the end of story. It will chase you, unless you're SCP-682, as we've already addressed, because that ship has sailed. But if you go to another dimension, even if you close the door, it will still be looking for you. So when that door opens again, 096 is gonna sense it and try to get through. That is actually why we don't store anomalies in SCP-3008, as people often say, because even though the doors move around, so that means that we couldn't get them out even if we wanted to, but that means that the doors around at random, if we just shove anomalies in there, if they break out of their containment cells, they will find the door eventually. If they are an immortal SCP that just keeps going and going, the statistical likelihood of the SCP finding the door is going to happen. And so that's why we don't do that. But also, I am having this imagination of Dr. Kondraki putting a bag over 096's head, locking a rope around its waist with some sort of sled, and then phoning the site to show a declassified picture of 096 in order for 096 to sleigh ride him out of the facility and back into the world. And that's some pretty funny-ish right there. Well, this has been a stimulating mental exercise. Thank you all so much for your SCP shower thoughts. Make sure you leave them in the comments or in the Patreon or member section if you want priority, and we'll see you in the next video. Secure, contain, protect. Thank you for listening. Site 42 Studios and its staff are funded by viewers like you. Please become a patron or visit our merch store at the link in our bio to support our work. Secure, contain, protect.